Hey, we're live now, Justin. Hey guys, welcome to Liquidity Alpha, your go-to platform for liquidity tracking for your favorite coins. How are you doing today, Justin?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Yesterday we went over EtherFi, which is one of the coins within the Ethereum ecosystem. And today we were thinking of doing similar sort of style, but EigenLayer, and look at how EigenLayer is going to perform. It's a decentralized restaking protocol on Ethereum. So why don't we
Mhm.
look at token Eigen for our analysis today?
Yeah, let's pull it up. Let's see. Can you see it on the screen there?
Yeah, oh, I love the colors, man. I seriously love our colors now.
Thanks. Yeah, same. I had a good eye helping me pick them out, right?
Yeah.
So,
So what are we
so
looking
I
at?
guess yeah, good point, right? So let's review the colors real quick. So we have this like light blue is whenever liquidity is bullish. This nice maroon is whenever liquidity is bearish, and it always paints for what the outcome or like what the future looks like. And so we see here, this is down on the 2 hour. We have the candles are being painted this nice like ice blue, and so things are bullish. And we see that there's a nice support layer here at about $1.61.
Right.
And so we have an outlook that is bullish, and a support level if needed, which looks like we're maybe have a little bit of bounce back after. It looks like we've had some pretty nice candles back to back, 5%, 5.5%, 4 and
Right.
3%. So, but overall outlook is bullish on the 2 hours. So that's like, for the next day or so, expect kind
Yeah.
of to go up.
Yeah, it's I mean if you guys know, the Ethereum ecosystem, it's one of the big projects for sort of this cycles, I would say, along with EtherFi. Eigen is one
Mm.
of the big like support, the stuff they're building without getting complicated into the weeds. It's very good, and I love the team there. So very cool. But just focus on what we're looking at, right? So this is the liquidity listeners and viewers, right? They can see how the liquidity is sort of.
It supports, and you bring up a good point where usually those are sort of hand-drawn
Yeah.
channels or levels that traders individually draw. Here we're actually taking the data, uh, and it's the liquidity data, stripping out the numbers and finding where the actual kind of supports and resistances are. And so it's a very dynamic system. We can see that it changes. It's kind of actually in the middle of changing right now, as we can see.
Yeah.
And so they do represent these areas of support and resistance, as we can kind
Right.
of see here. Like we test the support here, and then we bounced up to the resistance here, and then we kind of got caught in between for a while, and then we broke through the resistance. And yeah, that like I think you bring up a good point where the benefit is that these aren't arbitrary. They're not just kind of
Yeah.
whimsically drawn based off of maybe some outlook that I might subconsciously want. They're just it's numbers and data. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's
it's a good point though.
I guess this is our representation of liquidity, but the way I also like to think it's the way the market and the market mechanics is working, right? The market mechanics is these big players, the liquidity providers that are, market makers. So for me, another way to conceptualize this is the way, the market is working, and the market biggest players are market makers, right? How they're positioning. And you can see obviously the prices on the 2 hours basis, but if you zoom out a bit, we can look at 4 hours, right? We'll see a totally different data here.
Mm. Yep,
Well, there
yep.
you go.
So yeah, like you said, on this view, it is like zooming out. Like we were looking really close into the local environment, and now we've zoomed out to like looking at the whole state, or like the large swath of the ocean that this coin finds itself in. And we see a similar view. We see this bullish liquidity is broken through this resistance here, and with as long as the liquidity is still printing the bullish prints, which it is, then the outlook is going to be that the price keeps going up. we do see that previous times there was like a reintroduction of this bearish liquidity. So, have a little bit of we'll keep an eye out for that. But the expectation is that as long as the liquidity is bullish, we have a nice support here at $1.61, which I think is actually about the same we saw in the 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so, worst comes to worst, we bounce. But when liquidity is still bullish as it is now, then the expectation is that it will just kind of
Right.
bounce off and kind of go back up. Whereas we can see the alternate, where as it tests that support and then things become bearish, then the expectation is that it'll fall through that support and then try to find, slightly move down to that next level of support.
Right.
And obviously that's, not we kind of see it there and it bounces. But so, yeah.
So what is the upside then? Like what price point we can expect? Can we see that data? Like, we've discussed points here, or the ranges perhaps, not the exact price point. Can we draw like when this liquidity that's the bid right now becomes an ask, like in maybe next 16 hours or so, how far it can
Right.
go? Right. I guess I'm just trying to see what are the ranges looks like in next 1 or 2 days.
Right. And normally I would say the answer is yes, right? Like when we're in, a week ago, we would, as the price fell through that support, we would see, it'd be pretty obvious that the range was between the lower support at $1.21 and like what was then the resistance here at $1.50.
In that case, let's zoom out to one more level to 1 day, and let's look at what is happening with 1 day. If there is any, oh boy, right. So it's overall bullish, but not much data, as I can see.
Yeah, it looks like it's a fairly newer coin. So some of the liquidity levels are still kind of cooking, but we can see that the liquidity measurements themselves, with the candles being, painted this kind of cool blue, it's bullish, right? So, the benefit of that is we can see that even though the price was decreasing here and the liquidity was bullish, this is a classic like buy the dip scenario, because the bars are being painted bullish not because of what is happening, but because of the outlook that's derived from what is happening.
I see.
And so in the similar vein, we have this nice bullish price movement, but as long as the liquidity is still printing bullish candles with this like nice light blue. So I just like the color.
Yeah.
It will then, the outcome is still that the future is bullish, and then so the price is going to go up.
Right.
And so we do see it though on the daily, like if worse comes to worse, these first like liquidity levels are showing up around like 40 cents, 43 cents, which is a bit of a way. But like I said, that's like the worst of the worst, right? Like LDPM and LDPS, especially on like the lower time frames, which should definitely give us a heads up well before
Right.
moving to test these supports.
Yeah, that's cool. And if we go zoom out a bit and look at the coin from the start, anything like that's visible through this lens of liquidity that, I mean, from the day it started, got listed on exchanges, it was all bearish liquidity, what it's telling us, right? Up until such time in March this year, when it sort of became more bullish.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the coin definitely started out on some rough footing, with bearish liquidity printing, even as it rose up to like $5.60 right? I wonder what the peak was.
Yeah, 568. Yeah.
And it just dropped all the way back down, and just within the past year it seems just started printing bullish prints. And I would say if the optimist in me, and so the outlook would is I guess if you really want it, and it looks like it's well underway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long way to go. It's 3x or 300%. That's a decent steep growth if it does go through. But I think it's definitely possible for this coin.
Yeah, I mean, slow and steady wins the race, right?
Yeah.